The United States has deployed anti-missile defenses around Hawaii after reports that North Korea may fire its most advanced ballistic missile toward the islands around the 4th of July. Experts don't think the missile really has the range to reach Hawaii, and a similar test 3 years ago failed seconds after liftoff. But defense officials are taking this threat very seriously.
I think we are in a good position, should it become necessary, to protect American territory.
The United States military is tracking a ship from North Korea that might be carrying weapons. It's the first ship being monitored under tougher new UN rules aimed at punishing North Korea after its recent nuclear test.
Well, he is accused of one of the biggest frauds in American history, and his name isn't Madoff. We're talking about Texas financier R. Allen Stanford, and he's scheduled to appear this afternoon in federal court. Stanford is accused of an $8 billion Ponzi scheme promising investors impossible returns. But, of course, he says he's innocent.
For the first time in a decade, an unmanned rocket is headed for the moon. The rocket blasted off last night carrying a pair of science probes that will scout out potential landing spots for astronauts. This is the first step in NASA's effort to return humans to the moon by 2020.
Well, coming up, a warning for moms-to-be, why stress on the job early in the beginning of your pregnancy could have an impact on your baby all the way through delivery.
And later, he's quite possibly the country's most famous dog. How you can get your paws on a unique Bo Obama souvenir.
Unfortunately, we're locked into this atmospheric wheel of misfortune for the weekend into next week, but there may be a few bright spots. Maybe they'll get that game in at Fenway tonight as they play the Braves. Looking out at Fenway right now, it doesn't look too promising. Heavy drizzle and 66 degrees. I'll be back with your weekend forecast in just a few minutes.
Portion of WBZ News is brought to you by JD Sash and Door.
The biggest union at the Globe seems pretty confident that talks with management will work out, so confident that they've set up a July 20th spot as a tentative date on the calendar to vote on a new deal, even though there is no new deal in place. The Boston Newspaper Guild president says setting the date is a way to limit the impact of a 23% pay cut that was imposed on the union last week. Both sides are scheduled to meet again on Monday.
On the Health Watch, raw cookie dough is a guilty pleasure for some people, but you might want to hold off on eating any of it right now. Nestle is voluntarily recalling its Toll House refrigerated cookie dough in all of its forms, tubes, bars, tubs, because of possible E. coli contamination. Nestle says there's already a warning on the package that you shouldn't eat the dough raw, but not everyone listens to that, of course. And here's an interesting thought. If you're expecting job stress during early pregnancy, could increase your risk of low infant birth weight. There's this new study that says researchers found a work week of 32 hours or more and high job strain during a first trimester were enough to cause an impact. Study results are going to be published in the August edition of the American Journal of Public Health.
So we have to talk weather here on a Friday afternoon. Normally very excited, and I think a lot of people are looking forward to like a cookout for Father's Day.
And we are going to have some stretches where it's not a constant downpour.
If we can just time and find those episodes when it is going to dry out, but there's going to be plenty of times when it's going to be just damp.
We can have like a 20-minute barbecue somewhere on Saturday.
Well, fast forward, FF. Get that, you know. Can you see that scene now? Everybody rushing around just to get the barbecue in. Well, here's what it looks like out there, and it probably isn't going to look all that much different for a chunk of the weekend, but part of it may be okay. I'll show you which part may make you happy, certainly for this Father's Day weekend. So basically, weather headlines, outdoor plans, well, if you want to get them in, I think maybe tomorrow will be the driest of the 2 weekend days, especially in the morning, although there could be a little drizzle around. Still looks like it's going to be a dismal Dad's Day. It's going to be wet and on the cool side, but throughout the whole weekend, though, it's going to have that humid feel to it. It's quite muggy out there, actually. Dew point's over 60 degrees right now. There is hope on the horizon, but we've got to look way out on the horizon. It doesn't look like it may happen until the second half of the upcoming week. Can you believe that? Well, right now, there's been a hope, and folks on Cape Cod have been looking out at sunshine. In Hyannis, for example, Dennisport, sun is out there. Look at that. So there's just maybe once in a while, maybe one of this little spoke, a little hole in the clouds goes by, and we see a little sun. And when I was driving to work this morning, I saw bright sunshine for 1 minute. And then it was followed by heavy rain. So there you go, a little bit of sunshine breaking out in the Connecticut River Valley as well. So for tonight's game, as they host Atlanta, looks like there's a chance of some drizzle, maybe a shower or two, but should be less rain than there was last night. Speaking of rain, let's quickly look at the rain, and here it is right here in eastern Massachusetts, and it seems to be moving north, but as it was sunny earlier on the Cape, now there's some showers coming back in there. So the culprit is this system right here, the first of a couple which will be affecting us. This is slowly going to move on to the outpictured weekend, but the rain and drizzle will continue in Maine along the New Hampshire coast, maybe Essex County, while here comes the next feature which will dig off to the southeast. So that means it's still going to be unsettled, dismal, damp areas of fog and drizzle tonight as we go to the upper 50s to near or slightly over 60 for lows. It'll be mild and feeling humid right on through this afternoon, tonight, and through much of the weekend, certainly on the damp side, and tomorrow will be the same, although I'm looking for somewhat drier air, and if sun does pop out every once in a while, it could easily go to the middle 70s, but there's always that threat of some showers breaking out at any time as this next system gets us, and the rain gets much heavier, especially later in the afternoon and coming up for tomorrow night. So here's the deal. As the next system starts to dig off to the southeast, it's going to almost evolve into a summertime nor'easter with spokes of rain just pinwheeling around in this so-called wheel of misfortune, and that may just hang in there and get stalled for days and days, and I'm talking maybe into the first part of next week. So if we do get a few breaks of sun, it's most likely during tomorrow, and then it looks like it's back to rain and drizzle on Sunday, much of the time, but not all of the time, and more of the same as we get into the first part of next week. One of the more reliable computer models suggests by the middle of next week, it's going to go poof, it's going to disappear, and the sun's going to come out, and it'll go into the 80s, but I'm going to hang out for that for just a little bit. Enjoy the weekend anyway, no matter what the weather is. Back to you.
That's right. And happy Father's Day, Barry.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Well, we all remember Pedro Martinez had some epic battles against the New York Yankees, but now we're hearing he might be looking to join them.
Well, Don Zimmer's not there anymore, so maybe he can. Right now, the former ace isn't playing for anybody. But according to several published reports out there today, Martinez would throw for 4 teams down in the Dominican, including the New York Yankees. Of course, Pedro's got a history with the Yankees, including this little maneuver where he threw Don Zimmer down to the ground. And Martinez reportedly wants $3 million to pitch the rest of the season. Can't imagine the Yankees actually really have a spot for him. But that would certainly ratchet up the rivalry, wouldn't it?
Yeah, ironic. Well, playing in the yard or the street seems like a rite of passage for most children, but is it a right that should be protected at all costs?
A battle between some Massachusetts parents and their suddenly child-unfriendly condo association is up next. Well, today may not be a great day for your kids to play outside, but with summer vacation just a couple of days away in most towns, you know it's coming.
You know they're all going to be outside, but some parents at a local condo complex say that suddenly new rules in place go too far and they're completely unfriendly to families with children. This is in the Milford Daily News. The Laurelwood at Hopedale Condo Association put in these new rules after they were receiving complaints about kids riding bikes in the cul-de-sac. Well, the kids were making what was described as excessively loud noise. Children were accused of leaving their toys outside. So the management company changed the bylaws. Get this, no bikes, no baseball, no street hockey, no skateboards or rollerblades. Residents were told the rules are all about liability, especially the possibility that some of the kids could get hurt on bikes.
Well, all morning long, we've been putting this story up for debate in Conversation Nation, our blog, and Carol C. wrote in saying, if you don't like kids, then buy a condo in a 55 and over community. If you do have kids, then have them play respectfully. If 90% of the children follow reasonable rules, there will be improvement.
But Tori says having children is a lifestyle choice. People who choose to have kids should take their kids to go bike riding at a public park, bike path, or buy a house with a yard for their kids to play. A condo association shouldn't have to bend to the will of a handful of tenants who've chosen to bring children into the world. Do you agree? Have other thoughts? Join the conversation at WBZ-TV.com.
I have a couple thoughts.
A few?
Probably shouldn't get to them,
You
though.
can get on there. There are official White House portraits, of course, of the President and First Lady, but apparently also for their pets.
The White House has released the official picture of Bo. I'm still trying to get over the last story. The Obama Portuguese water dog. Take a look at the pictures, and this is Bo sitting on the White House lawn. This picture will be used for a baseball card. On the back, fun stats like favorite activities, which include napping near the Obama girls.
Bo Obama's hobbies include playing on the White House lawn, going for walks with the Obama family.
And his goal as first dog, make friends with foreign dognitaries. Just want to make it clear I didn't write these jokes.
No, the White House people did. I think other dogs look at that and think, I want to be the first dog someday.
I'm sure there are a few out there, yes.
So this afternoon into tonight, we're going to have some just gray and overcast periods of time.
I think what you see is what you'll have for most of the next 5 or 6 days, but there will be some times when the sun potentially could pop out for brief periods of time. It looks like tomorrow morning into the afternoon should be the driest part of the weekend, then after that, Father's Day looks kind of wet.
When did we take jobs in Seattle?
It seems like, yeah, yes.
I don't remember being sent out west. Thanks, Barrett.
Happy Father's Day to both of you.
Thank you so
And
much.
to my dad, be sure to join us on our next newscast at 5.
And remember, we're always on the web. Have a great Father's Day weekend, folks.